Have you ever felt it? The bone-deep exhaustion that sleep can't fix. That feeling of being constantly overwhelmed and cynical. We call it burnout. Many times in my life, I felt the burnout. I lived through it. I wanted to achieve more. I wanted to earn more. I wanted to do more. But when burnout came and hit me hard, it basically crumbled my relationships with my wife, my family, with my friends. That was the most tiring period of my life. I felt very cynical and bitter against everything, towards everything. So if you're feeling similar, I know a way out. So stick with me. Listen to it, understand it, because once you understand, your brain is plastic. It will change, it will adapt. When it adapts, your actions will change. Your way of looking will change. Your perception towards life will change. So if you're ready for a change, here we go. Welcome to Know Yourself. But what if it is really a symptom of something much deeper? I want you to consider a fundamental question, one we rarely ask ourselves in the middle of our busy lives. Who am I? Are you your job title, a parent, a high achiever? Are you your successes and failures? We spend our entire lives building and defending these identities, these stories about ourselves, and it is literally exhausting. Because the core reason we burn out is that we spend all our energy trying to be something that we fundamentally are not. We are burning ourselves out because we don't truly know who we are. Now, this isn't to dismiss toxic or abusive work environments. If you're in one, the first step is to get out. But many of us, the problem isn't just the environment, it is the way we relate to it. The great secret is that the ultimate solution to burnout isn't about changing our jobs, but about radically changing ourselves. What if the solution isn't building a better you, but to realize there is no you to protect in the first place? And what if the realization is the ultimate freedom? I am pretty certain of it. So, what is burnout? Medically, it is defined by three core symptoms: overwhelming exhaustion, feeling of cynicism, and detachment, a sense of ineffectiveness and lack of accomplishment. But this is a complex psychological trap, and it all stems from a mistaken identity. It often starts with ambition. We are conditioned to pursue success, to believe our value is tied into our achievements. We are always trying to become something better, something more. But ambition isn't just the surface layer. Underneath it lie the real drivers for burnout. First, fear, the fear of failure, the fear of being seen as inadequate, the fear of not living up to the expectations of the very identity we have created. This fear puts our nervous system on constant high alert. Second, anxiety. This is fear projected into the future. It is the constant worry about deadlines, performance reviews, and protecting our professional story. This anxiety keeps us in a perpetual state of fight or flight, very tiring. Third, lack of autonomy. When we feel like we have no control, our sense of self feels threatened. When you're just a cog in the machine, it leads to a feeling of helplessness that drains motivation. And finally, a values mismatch. When your daily work conflicts with who you believe you are, it creates constant internal battle. We become the tireless guards of our own psychological prison, controlling the walls of an identity built from fear. So how do we break free? Path isn't about managing stress, but about radically transforming our perception. It's about understanding the very machine that is causing the problem. First, we must see our driving forces for what they are. I suggest that success itself can be a form of brutality, a single-minded focus that shuts out the totality of life. Our entire society blesses this ambition. But this constant striving only leads to a greater confusion and sorrow. Second, the true work is in the act of pure seeing. The solution is to see the fact of our own conditioning, our ambition, our fear, our envy, without judgment. The intellectual explanation doesn't matter. The pure, choiceless awareness of the fact itself is what liberates us. When you can observe your own frustration and anxiety without getting caught in it, you begin to detach from the story. This requires deep self-observation. Watch your mind. Watch your ambition rise. Watch your anxiety build. Don't condemn it or try to suppress it. Just see it. In that clear, non-judgmental seeing, the thing you are observing loses its power over you. It is the seeing of the false as the false that sets you free. The seeing, this total attention, is the key. In a state of total attention, there is no conflict. And without the internal conflict, the story of me versus what is actually happening, the immense energy we waste on struggle is freed. This is the end of the internal friction that causes burnout. This brings us back to that ultimate question. Who are you, really, if you're not your job, your thoughts, or your fears? Who are you? What if the final answer is nothing? Let's explore this idea of non-existence. It states you're not your ego identity. External world and its social parameters play a big role in forming this ego identity. It is the constructed I that feels the fear of failure and the anxiety about future. It is the root of ambition and therefore root of burnout. The ultimate freedom then is understanding non-existence. We're not just our stories or identities. We are nothing, and that is the ultimate freedom. When you deeply understand that there is no separate solid you to protect, to promote, to push to the point of exhaustion, the entire psychological basis of the burnout collapses. This isn't a negative or nihilistic idea. It is the most liberating realization possible. When you cease to exist, there is nothing to choose. Out of this choiceless state, there flowers aloneness. Its death is never ending. It's always flowering and it's always new. To live without burden of a self that needs constant defense and validation is to be truly free. It is the end of the struggle. So how do we do this? By choosing to change, deciding to change. When you start to understand that your brain has endless potential to change and that your identity is nothing but a story, an illusion, then the right action will arise. There is nothing to do. Hear this, contemplate it, and let life unfold and blossom. That is the change, and it is natural. You do your part, give your whole heart and attention, and let life do heavy lifting and change you into everything. Stillness and peace are one step away. All you have to do is take the first step. That is the art of living. So burnout is not a personal failure. It's a crisis of identity. It's a warning sign that we are caught in a psychological trap of ambition, fear, and mistaken sense of who we are. The path out is to dismantle the cause through fearless self-awareness, to see the machinery of our minds without judgment. The ultimate peace comes from understanding the I we work so hard to build is an illusion. When you let go of that illusion, you don't find emptiness. You find space for everything. You discover a state of being where you can engage with the world with full energy. Not because you become a better version of yourself, but because you stop trying to be anything at all. Thank you for taking this journey with me today. This is a deep topic, I know, and I love to hear your thoughts. Have you felt burnout is tied to your identity? How does the idea of non-existence resonate with you? Let me know in the comments below. And if this video provided some value, please hit the like button, subscribe for more deep dives into philosophy and life, and share this with someone who might need to hear it. Until next time, Be aware and be well. Peace out.